how these randoms keep getting jobs. Don't worry about it. I'm going to say, I can't wait to say it. I love it. I love it. Go.
That's right. I love it. I love this sport. I love this show. And if you're new here, welcome to the NotBland Show. I'm your host, Dujane Bland. We are presented by Sports Journey and Everything Nitro. And of course, we are sponsored by Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. Yes, it's time for you to get your thinking cap on. We're going to try to help you with this as we go over what's going to happen in the clash at Vegas to help you get ready for your Drag Race Bracket Bonanza bracket here for your league. See if you can get yourself a win. There's only 2 races left, so it's time to grind, and we're going to help you do that here in just a little bit after our word from our sponsor to show you, if you haven't already, which I don't know why you haven't, but if you haven't, here's how you sign up.
Drag racing fans, check out Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It's the free, family-friendly fantasy bracket game. Now, after final qualifying at every national event, you can fill out your bracket for all the pro classes.
It's free, easy to click on your picks. If you need some help, just hit the randomizer button to fill in the blanks. It's for fun, stay engaged, and pick your winners today.
Man, and y'all know, when it comes down to big races, and if this one is big as it's going to get, you know I got to have my man, Dave W., the founder and owner of Drag Race Reference. Dave, what's going on, baby?
Oh, glad to be here. Glad to break it all down, and appreciate the kind words and introduction. And yeah, 2 to go. How is it that 2024 is almost over? How is it already November, and how do we only got 2 left? What happened?
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It seems like we just got started. Like we were just talking about the 341 run that happened in Bradenton, and here we are sitting at the end of the season looking at crowning champions. Pretty impressive season that we've been a part of. The weather is going to be beautiful here in Vegas. Which means there could be some possibilities. And I kind of shy away from this because we've done this several times this season and it has not come to fruition. But, Dave, do we finally see our first all 3-second field of the season?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid possibility. As long as they got this track prepped to the gills, yeah, it's gonna be wild. The problem is gonna be, I think, the weather throughout the days, it looked like, unless the forecast has changed, I've seen a high of basically mid to low 60s all 3 days. Yeah. So now,
and cloudy one from what I saw.
Yeah, so that's not bad. And the thing is with Vegas, the sun, you may need to help keep the track temp up a little bit, but they've had their schedule shift recently in the latest couple of years that we've had at Vegas. So we don't have that really big hero nighttime session like we used to. So it's going to be interesting to see. But the cooler weather in the daytime, enough prep on that track, man, they could really fly.
Yeah, most definitely. This could be something special. And I did not realize this, but that 381 that Austin Prock ran was the closest we've been to the running a 380 or better since the laid back header days.
Correct. Yes, impressive. Biggest run since 2017.
That is impressive. And it says a lot about how consistent they have been. I'm looking at the leaderboard here, and I did add a few people in. Justin Ashley, number one in the points. He's got one win in this playoffs, 2 semifinals. His round win-loss record is 9-3. That win in Dallas was huge, though.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that could be a game changer and a season changer right there. I mean, not only that, but combine that with the first round matchup against Antron Brown that took him out of the points lead and put Justin into points lead with that clutch win with 2 to go. I mean, he's right now in the catbird seat. I mean, it is his championship at this moment in time. They're the ones chasing him. And if you look back, I mean, he was runner up here last year in the finals against Mike Salinas, who, even though he's not competing, it'll be interesting to see what that tune-up in that car does, because Mike Salinas has been in the last 3 fall Las Vegas finals. And now Jasmine's in that car. They got the tune-up for that track. They got the setup if they can get it down. But Justin Ashley definitely is going to be, another final round, another win, another runner-up. He's going to have a pretty substantial lead coming into Pomona, and he might need it with the way that the unknown variables going into there. So,
yeah. And that is where I wanted to get to next. Thanks, Nicole. I will leave this up here. This thing is going to be stacked with players when we talk about the drivers that are showing up to this race. I believe there's 19 top fuel cars, and I'm gonna check that here just in a second.
I counted 19 as well. You've got Scott Palmer out there. Travis Shoemake showing up, like Stu's making the trip out there. You've got Spencer Massey on the list out of nowhere. Spencer Massey's going to be there. Will Smith coming out, and he is driving for Luigi Novelli in the National Machine Repair car. So
that's pretty awesome.
Will Smith out there competing again. Luigi is a local hometown guy, and basically got to the point where he said he's pretty much done. He's going to put somebody else in the car, and that somebody here at Vegas is Will Smith.
Yeah, and Will, one of the good guys, and we know he's capable of, getting that car and wheeling that car down there. I hope they give him something to play with there.
The big question is going to be with this many cars, does qualifying turn into a nail biter again? We've seen some pretty interesting Q4s this year. Pretty much, from I would say Chicago, when we had a lot of cars there. Indy was another big one. It's going to be pretty interesting with these large car counts. There could be some nail biters going into the last session.
Yeah. You're looking at these players that are in here, the Scott Palmer, Travis Shoemake hasn't made too many passes, but when they have made the passes and gotten the car to work, it's run really nicely and can put them solidly in the show.
Yes.
Lex June, another one that's a guy that just, pounds away. My question is, though, how's this going to work? Is she tuning 2 cars? I mean, she's perfectly capable. She's perfectly capable.
Oh, for sure.
But, hey, that's a question.
2-car test data. I mean, get one down the track and get the test data to put the tune-up in the other one. So, yeah, that's pretty interesting to see how that'll play out.
Indeed. We could be seeing some interesting nail biters come down to the end there. Since we're mentioning top fuel, look at this baby. Gillette Labs, top fuel dragster for Travis Shoemake. Let me get that. Look at that, man. Impressive. I love the colors. That's a good looking race car.
Oh, it's a beautiful race car. Love the sponsor too, Gillette. Bringing some of the mainstream outside the sports sponsors back on these cars is pretty cool for Travis to put that out there. The color scheme's great. That thing's really going to pop on TV, I'm sure too, with the black and the green the way that it is. So that's.
I wonder what their race suits are going to look like.
Yeah,
that's going to be impressive. the crewmen. That's going to be really impressive. Yeah, like you said, real big deal right here to get a company like this to be a part of NHRA drag racing. And again, hopefully this is something that can stick for him and be a sponsor that he can carry on in to 2025. Clay Milligan with the Evil Knievel.
How about that? Now that is cool.
That's something else right there, man. That is impressive. The scheme is so good.
Oh yeah. Just don't mimic Evil. Let's keep all 4 tires on the ground, please. Keep them on the ground.
Yeah, no flying, no front ends up, no trying to blow overs, none of that nonsense. Keep that thing 4 wheels on the ground, and hopefully they can run in the deep 60s and pull something out there. You know, something that looking at this weather that struck me is that the weather does not fit Antron Brown. This is not conditions that he wants to see.
No. But they can come out and surprise somebody, and you'd be surprised to come out there. I really think that with as close as it is, the way that these cars have been running this year, I'm going to say if the weather holds out and the track is there, you're probably going to see the top. I'll go out on a limb and say the top 8 cars are going to be in the 360s.
Yeah. You think one of those top 8 is Brittany Force?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt, that's going to be one of those top 8. It's going to be Brittany Force for sure.
My thought process here, I got a gut feeling that car is going to perform in the next 2 races and is going to piss someone off. Somebody's going to end up going up against her, and they're going to go out. Yeah. She's gonna find a light, and that tune-up's going to be there, and it's going to be over.
Well, you know, she's not officially out of it yet. So, I mean, this is definitely make or break it weekend for Brittany Force. She is not in control of her own destiny. She needs one of those topsy-turvy, upside-down top fuel ladders that puts 1 and 3, 2 and 4, and 5 and 6 against each other in the first round to have a shot. But, you know, if there's any place for them to put it together, it's the Fall Vegas race. They have shined at that track multiple times over the years, multiple final rounds, multiple low ET and top speed of the meets. And, you know, with the weather conditions, that is throwdown weather for them. I mean, they were low in Dallas just this past event. So I think they're slowly creeping up on it. And you just got to keep that dreaded tire smoke off there.
Definitely. You know, with all of this and looking at the standings, even Tony Schumacher, which a lot of people feel this could be a race where Ida becomes somebody else's thorn as well. If she can help him and he can go some rounds, he very well could make this interesting. Now, history and track record and what the tape shows us is a level of inconsistency. And he's had some breaks, which in drag racing, that's what you need in order to keep yourself alive. The question is now, can they find that level of consistency? They've shown that they can take advantage of weather like this. Do you think it's possible? You look at the people in front of him, Steve Torrance, who has been inconsistent. He's Jekyll and Hyde. Sean Langdon, another Jekyll and Hyde. And really, Antron Brown, Jekyll and Hyde. Do you think it's possible?
Well, we've seen, I guess, a lot of Jekyll part of Tony Schumacher. We haven't really seen the Hyde part of it. I mean, that's the hard part too, is what are these other guys going to do? Tony can just go out there and be a first round upset, and he's on the trailer right then and there. And I mean, yes, statistically speaking, if you look back over the course of the fall Las Vegas race or Las Vegas in general, Tony Schumacher's had very good success there, but not really within the last decade. You know, in the Army days, they owned the fall race there. Recent history, not so good. So it'll be interesting to see if they got a tune up for that track and that altitude and those weather conditions. But stranger things have happened, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that team pull one out of the hat and a semifinal or better appearance. The hard part is it's all going to depend on what Justin Ashley does. Justin Ashley and Antron Brown are going to be the two real kickers of this situation because of the amount of points that can be gained. But if you can get them out early and get Tony and Torrance in there late and kind of just tighten it up a little bit going into Pomona, boy, that last race is going to be a shootout.
And Antron Brown is 9-3 in the playoffs here. Has 2 wins in this playoffs. The issue for him where it hurt Dallas, he was out first round and he was out second round in St. Louis. And to still be alive, it is pretty fortunate for him especially when you go out first round. That hurts. The 2 wins really helped him out there. We've also seen, Dave, issues, especially in Top Fuel, of when the conditions are crisp and right. You know, a lot of crew chiefs want to blame the conditions, but you know my feelings on that. You tune to what you got.
That's right. Tune it to what it can run.
And they miss. And we have these sessions that we get all built up for, and these hero sessions that we think are going to be legendary, and we end up pissing down our leg, and it becomes a bunch of tire smoke and shutoffs.
I hope we don't see that. I really do. But, I mean, you never know. Q1 can be, let's test this track out. Let's see what it's going to do. Q2, and that's the thing is if the weather holds out, Q4 should definitely be the hero session because you've already had 3 shots at this track with this temperature conditions. You know, if the lanes are equal and it's go for it time, Q4 in both nitro categories ought to be pretty awesome. And I agree. We build it up so often, but I mean, you got to. The conditions are there, the weather's there. I mean, this is definitely throwdown time. This is not be shy time because you only have so many opportunities to gain points. And I hate to say it, but these little session points, these 3-2-1s, being first, second, and third in the session can mean so much to keep you in this championship hunt. We've seen how many times this year, just 100th of a second can move you 4 or 5 spots in the top fuel field, not pro stock, but on the top fuel side of things. And that's really going to be the amazing thing. You go into Q4 and you look at what the standings are and you see what the race ladder might be. There's going to be a lot of pressure on some of these guys to go, I don't want to race him first round. I better hurry up and hope I step up. So I think that's where some of the pressure comes from. And some of the later sessions, seeing these guys go for it and miss is because there's more behind it than I think meets the eye. I think they look at that and they go, I don't want to race Justin Ashley first round. I don't want Antron Brown first round. I don't want to run Ida first round. And they're stepping on it because they want to shift that ladder. And there's so many good cars. How it shakes out on Saturday afternoon is going to say a lot towards this championship.
Most definitely. It's going to be fun. It's all going to be fun, but that whole class is going to be fun to watch. Be very interesting, and the drama will be up there. And funny car, AP Austin Prock, 12-2, round win-loss record in these playoffs, 2 wins, 2 semis. Really, really has just laid it down. It looks like that in the Vince McMahon music, there's no chance in hell for anybody.
Well, if there's anybody that's got a chance, I'm gonna lean it towards Matt Hagan, based on his fall Las Vegas record and recent history there, because you can only go back so far, and you're kind of like, you know what, that's a whole different set of tune-up, different era, different crew chiefs, different track conditions, different header era. You can only compare it so much, but it depends on what AAA car they're going to bring to Vegas. If you look at the last 4 Vegas events that Robert Height ran with the AAA team, they have a win, a runner-up, a semifinal, a second round, and a first round. And you throw out 2020 because the Force teams didn't race there, but that is their last 4 years there. And You go back beyond that, they had a semifinal, and go back to 2016 when Cruz Pedregon was having his huge wheel stand that everybody had the attention on.
Yeah.
There was Robert Height smoking the tires behind him, getting the L in the first round. So it just depends on what Auto Club Chevy they're going to bring. Do you push it over center, or do you just put them, I don't think that they know how to back that car down. They seem like they are out, and that thing is set on kill every single run. They can't back that thing down to run a 388 and just get down through there. It's going to run. And if we're going to see an 80 flat or a 379 for the first time in a long time, it's going to come here, and it's going to come out of that car for sure. So whatever their combination is in qualifying, put a couple more points on there. Let's see how far they go on race day. But if they stumble, don't be surprised if Matt Hagan starts picking up the pieces.
Yeah, I think he is a guy that's proven that in pressure situations they really do perform quite well. And it seems as if like they quietly sneak up on you too. Like it's not a whole bunch of fanfare. They just go out, you set them up, and we'll knock them down type of thing. It still should be fun with those, especially with those stats with that AAA car. Yeah, anything is possible, and they could legitimately go into tire shake and be out first round. So that would make things really interesting coming into Pomona. I'm really looking forward to both the Nitro classes. When you go to Pro Stock, you've got Dallas Glenn, 12-2 round win-loss record, 2 wins, 2 semis. But AA, Aaron Stanfield, he's got that 1 win. He's got 2 final round runner-ups, which have helped him. His round win-loss record is 11-3. These 2 guys are the cream of the crop in this thing. But, I mean, we would be kidding ourselves if we think this is completely locked up and those 2 are, yes, front runners, but you can't count out Greg, and you can't count out the 6-pack champ. I know they haven't looked as crisp and consistent as they normally are, but all you need is 2 races and a chance. If she wins here, could get real interesting coming into Pomona.
You'd have to go all the way back to 2017 is the last fall Las Vegas national event that didn't have Erica Enders in the final.
That's scary.
She's been there since 2017. She is if you were a betting man, Erica Enders being in the final round, I'd put some money on that because, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion when they come to this place in the fall. So, yeah, and depending on who she races in that final round, if Dallas Glenn is still around, well, you might have an outside shot going into Pomona. But if Dallas or Aaron happen to stumble early and Erica's in the final round and she gets within 3 rounds going into the last race, I wouldn't put it past her. Some stranger things have happened. They can make up some points in qualifying. They got to go out there and hit it. She can pick up a lot, but you definitely got to go more rounds, and you got to hope that Dallas or Aaron go out early. So,
do you think we see some gamesmanship here? And you guys heard it here first. He's already giving you the tip. When the line comes out, that's where you should put your money. Just telling you. If you don't do it and she wins, you only have yourself to blame. Dave already told you.
Do we see gamesmanship as far as you think they're going to try and play the ladder? Is that what you're going off of?
Yes. Elite trying to play the ladder.
I don't know that Elite or KB could play the ladder with as close as these cars are matched anymore. And I believe, and I need to go back to the other screen and check, there is a considerable amount of Pro Stock cars here too. So it's going to be tough to play the ladder. I want to say there are 20 plus Pro Stock cars. So you can't really gamble on pulling those chutes and going home.
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
man,
10,
that
11, 12,
yes.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, 20 Pro Stock cars coming. So
4
of them are going home. The spoilers are coming from Corey Reed, Troy Coughlin Jr., well out of the point situation, but it definitely does good at Fall Las Vegas. Jed Coughlin Jr. won the 4 wides the last time we were here. Out of the point situation, don't count him out going rounds. It looks like all the quadras are going to be here, so you better be on your game on the starting line if you're up against one of them. And again, it's going to be, how does that ladder play out? Because if it's like last time at Dallas, and you get Aaron and Dallas against each other in an early round, that could go a long way for somebody's championship hopes too.
Definitely. 20 cars is you can't play the ladder now. Everybody's got to kind of go at it and put the destiny in your own hands and hope that maybe one of the top guys ends up in your ladder, and maybe in your ladder early.
Right.
You're hoping that they're the ones that's on the bottom side of the ladder, though.
Right.
You don't want to be the car on the bottom side of the ladder, but you definitely hope that that they somehow can find their way in that bottom half of that ladder to where you can face them in first round or as early as second round. So this one's going to get real ugly real quick. And again, just like Top Fuel, a lot of good cars that are coming in here that can spoil your day or can spoil your entire weekend because you might not get in if you struggle early.
And I would say the most likely scenario to see that happen would be the 4 and 5 qualifiers. If you can get Dallas and Aaron in 4th and 5th, they're going to be round 2. So that's probably the best bet for that happening early, based on how the ladders have played out. Erica's probably going to be pretty much low, although last time we were at Vegas, Jerry Tucker got his first career number 1 qualifier. So any one of these guys can step up, and it's just going to be just like Top Fuel. How does the ladder play out? Funny car, I don't really see that being too much of an issue. We've been talking mostly about how the qualifying's laid out. Of course, I say that, and how many times have we randomly seen Bob Taskin, Matt Hagan first round, Matt Hagan, Ron Capps first round? These guys, these heavy hit. It's never Austin Prock and somebody first round, but it's always these other guys that are trying to chase that end up against each other first round, just out of nowhere. So the pro stock ladder is going to be interesting, and really only in that category, it's only Dallas and Aaron that can control their own destiny. If you just go out there and go low and you win, you keep everybody else behind you.
Indeed. And if you're just joining, we're talking about the Vegas Clash that's coming up, the 5th playoff race of this playoff, NHRA playoff. And thank you for joining. Like, share, subscribe to this show. It's going to be, it's wild to sit here and think that Top Fuel, Funny Car, and Pro Stock, the 2 nitro classes, are just equivalent to Pro Stock because of how close these ETs and speeds and just how close these cars are. It's absolutely insane. I mean, who would ever thought that we would be in an era that things are just that minute, that you can lose like you can lose in pro stock. Very, very close. It's wild. It's wild to really see this.
Oh, for sure. And it's not even a matter of you almost eliminate the tire smoke variable. And we've seen more wins and losses, I think, this year than I've in recent memory on hole shots, especially in Top Fuel. With as closely matched as they've been on race day, you don't normally see that come into play as much, but they have been getting down the track and close enough to each other that, hey, that right foot matters, baby.
Yeah, that's going to be huge for everyone, especially as how good a lot of these drivers have been. And those who haven't been that good this season, it's made the difference. Folks have lost with better cars because they were late. And that you're going to have to find a way to get those little the comatose disease out of your system if you want to be able to get and go rounds and have an opportunity, especially if you're able to have an opportunity to be a champion here in Pomona. Well, we'll get to pro stock after this break. We will also talk about those who we think that actually might win this race and if there's any other interesting stats that'll help you make your decision on your drag race bracket bonanza, Dave has it. We'll talk about it right after this.
Drag racing fans, check out Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It's the free, family-friendly fantasy bracket game. Now, after final qualifying at every national event, you can fill out your bracket for all the pro classes.
It's free, easy to click on your picks. If you need some help, just hit the randomizer button to fill in the blanks. It's for fun, stay engaged, and pick your winners today.
This week's Talking Funny Car, this Wednesday, October 30th, it will be J.R. Todd. J.R. Todd, DHL driver for Connie Coletta. Should be interesting. He is definitely one of the heavy hitters, one of the guys who is not afraid to say what he thinks. And if he doesn't like what you did, he definitely will tell you. And he doesn't have a problem with telling you exactly how he feels. So this one should be very interesting. My guy, Buddy Hull, is doing an excellent job with this show. When I said they picked the right guy for this one, they definitely did. He's just a guy that's endearing to everybody. And when you talk to him, he's just a guy that's easy to talk to. And it's so important when you're trying to, get these guys to open up and show these fans a little bit of who they are. So make sure you guys set your calendar, set your reminder, whatever you got to do. It's on the NHRA's fast channels. That's on Roku, Tubi. It is Sling, Samsung, wherever you can find those free channels. That's where they are. Get locked in. Starts at 8 p.m. So get your popcorn ready. It will be one that you do not want to miss.
It is definitely an entertaining 30 minutes. If you've not ever seen one yet, they are very entertaining, and you will not regret sitting down and watching it. That's all I'll say about that show. Absolutely.
Now, Pro Stock Motorcycle, I still think it's a 3-horse race. This is something that I had an opportunity to talk to Richard Gadsden, who I believe is the Rookie of the Year. And just as Brian Lowe said on his show, I'm going to say it on my show. That's who I voted for. And you guys already know I love Tony, and I get all the media stuff that he does. But when we start adding in all the other stuff, man, if somehow he wins this Rookie of the Year, I'm going to burn it down. I'm letting y'all know. I'm going to go full on Stephen A. Smith. It's going to be ugly. But these guys, Matt, Gage, Richard, all have good bikes. One guy in this scenario, though, has too many cases of the yips, letting $10 parts keep him from having an opportunity to either win final rounds or get into the semifinal rounds, whatever the case may be. He's got to find a way to get this right. Does Matt, in your eyes, does Matt or Richard have a shot at dethroning Gage Herrera and snatching this championship?
I think Matt's got a shot, but as far as a 3-horse race, I think the last one just broke his leg, and you need to get the shotgun because we're down to 2. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think that you got those 2, but your question in Pro Stock, I think, applies potentially to the motorcycles if you can stomach giving away session points, because those little points make a difference, and position points. We got 16 bikes showing up, so you go ahead and push in that clutch about 1,000 foot, and you can set your first round matchup pretty quick. If you want to play the game and run 1 versus 2 first round, well, you can make it happen.
Man, I can see Matt doing some crazy stuff like that. If anybody's going to do something like that, it's him.
I don't think that he would do it personally. I think if he's going to do it, he's going to do it with Angie Smith or John Hall or some of them guys are going to
2 good bikes. Yeah, 3 good bikes right there that have
and just kind of coach it. With those bikes, by the time you get by 60 feet, 9 times out of 10, you know what you're going to do. But if you get some 8th mile numbers or 1,000-foot numbers, you know what kind of bike you've got. You don't necessarily need to show it on the scoreboard, but you could play the games.
Yeah. The issues I have with Angie is every time in the big moment, somebody's got to give her something to take the amps down just a little bit, because I just think she's so amped up on the starting line that you jump the gun, and in those moments you turn it red. When it's big, you know you got to have it. She knows she's got to have it, and she knows she has the bike. All she has to do is cut the light. I just think she's too amped up.
Could be.
Got to find something. I don't know. Take a shot of Hennessy or something to kind of bring this thing down.
All right. How about if you're Hector Jr. and you know this might be your last chance to get yourself back in contention? Do you play the ladder?
Hector has a bad tendency of turning on the red light in the big moments. Every time he gets in a big moment, with the exception of a few times this year, he turns on the red light.
The thing is,
play the ladder if you want, but he's not gonna make a difference.
What the problem is, if you gotta play the game, you gotta follow through with it. So you can't go out there, play the ladder, upset number 1 in the first round, and then choke in the second round, because you didn't do nothing at that point. You helped everybody else, but you didn't help yourself. So anybody that chooses to play the game better bring their A game all day long. But I think that if you had any opportunity to qualify 14th, 15th, 16th, and try and get a matchup with one of the big 3 early, this would be your chance. Otherwise, in all honesty, if Gage Herrera runs the table, he controls his own destiny. All he's got to do is just run out the rest of the season. Matt Smith can't catch him.
Right.
And even if Matt Smith runs out the table the rest of the season, which again, it's unlikely for either of these scenarios to happen, if Gage just matches him and he's second quick and runner-up at the number 2 qualifier and runner-up, he still wins by 2 points. So he's just got to basically keep pace with Matt Smith at this point. And those little session points, again, really add up. They can make all the difference when it comes down to it. But mostly, I don't think that you're going to see too big of a swing on the motorcycle classes based on qualifying points. I think your big thing is, like you said, does somebody have mechanical breakage, a red light, or something else that puts him out first, second, or third round and keeps him out of the finals? Because if you've got Matt and Gage in the final round of the last 2 races, there just ain't enough points to swing it in Matt's favor.
Yeah. This is so it's coming up on a year. This will be a year that to date, or year, probably not year to date, but year to race, that Richard Gaston debuted. We have a little bit of nostalgia here. The bike has performed well. And we have seen, for whatever reason, now the conditions are too good for Andrew to miss, but we have seen Andrew miss a few times.
Yes.
With the consistency, Richard just needs to cut a light. I mean, they're pretty close together. He's going to have to get a little bit on the starting line, but if he can do his job on the starting line, the bike can give him enough to get a win. Now he's got a tough road to go. You know what I mean? Like you got Angie, you got Gianna, you got John Hall, Chase Van Zandt is a problem. But he could really put himself in the conversation if he could pull out his first win here at Vegas, where he started a year ago.
He could. I mean, 100%. And I mean, the Vance and Hines team, they made up the final last year. The fall Vegas race has kind of been, I don't want to say all over the map in performance and who does well, but I mean, if you remember just a couple years ago, that's when Hector Jr. came back on his part-time schedule and ended up winning the fall Las Vegas race too, which kind of inspired him to come back full-time. And as far as qualifying goes, it's either been Vance and Hines or Matt Smith that have been number one qualifiers going all the way back to 2016. Wow. So when Jerry Savoy was number one. So really, but if you look at the finalists, I mean, you had all Vance and Hines last year. You had Hector Jr. and Matt Smith the year before. You go back the year before that, it was Steve Johnson and Karen Stouffer in the finals. So the fall Las Vegas race hasn't always been kind of status quo. It's kind of thrown a monkey wrench into the motorcycle class. For some reason, we've seen more upsets here. Maybe it's like you say, guys trying harder. The red light bandits are out there and they end up going home early when they didn't think that they were going to. So if anybody's going to come up with their first win at this race, I think that Richard Gadsden would be a pretty spot-on bet to do that. And if he's got long enough odds, boy, I'd put some coin on that man.
Yep, I would too. I just think with his trajectory as of late, he's been right there. And with the way this is all playing out, especially with the stats, courtesy of DragRaceReference.com, that's some good odds. That's some good odds. Very good odds. It's it's going to be an interesting next two races for these bikes. I'm really looking forward to the offseason because I want to see what happens here and who can start making some headway from whether it's all of the MSR bikes or whatever it is. It should be interesting offseason. I hope we see more bikes show up next year as well. And maybe with this rules package, it helps. But I did hear Richard talk about how heavy these bikes are. Mm-hmm. He said when he got to the top, he said he told Eddie that the bike nosed over, and it wasn't really the bike nosing over. It was that heavy. Once he got off the throttle, it's just
slow down.
He says it's really fun to stop. So like I said, NHRA has a tough job in that department to try to keep parity. I guess you try whatever you can try to kind of help out. And I guess it has kind of helped a little bit, but I don't know if we really have a true gauge, no pun intended, on it, because at times it seems like Andrew, when I guess he's done playing around to see if he can get ahead or do some other combination that sets them apart, they go back to what they were doing and they seem to have a gap on the field.
Well, that's the other train of thought is, do they take the quote unquote throttle stops and sandbags off with 2 to go? And because, there are people that are out there that think that they are still not showing their full hand. And it'll be interesting to see if they are. I can't see why you would go to one of these races and not. Why would you even risk it? I mean, if you can go out there and win them all, and especially win and runner up with both Gage and Richard, and get all the money and all the points and finish 1-2 in the standings, I think that would be a pretty lucrative deal. Why wouldn't you want to try and do that? But some people have the opinion that they're just toying with the field. And I guess we'll really see if the weather plays out. Now, there is an altitude factor when you consider running the Vegas track. But even last year, when the weather was decent, Gage went out there and still went 675 at 199. We've seen him over 202 a couple years ago. Matt Smith was there. So, that 75 last year was a track record. I don't think we're going to see him dip down into the 60s. There's just not enough there. And it's also going to be a depending factor of what the wind does in Vegas, because wind can play a factor there. It can be very gusty. I hope it's either a head or a tailwind and not the dreaded crosswind that these motorcycles have to face. But it'll be interesting to see what kind of numbers they are able to put up this weekend in comparison. So I mean, do I see the rest of the motorcycle field closing in on them? Sometimes they do. They have those sessions where it's like, they're kind of like second, third, fourth quickest. And Steve Johnson at Dallas came out and stunned everybody. He was up there in the top 4 of these sessions, just running the numbers. Does he keep up with that coming in here? Is he going to play spoiler out of nowhere? There's a lot of guys that have nothing to lose, and that's when they get dangerous.
Yeah. These are the times where it brings that out, and it's going to be fun to watch this. Now, we're going to talk. I'm going to ask you, who do you got winning this race? We're going to start with Pro Stock Motorcycle.
I mean, I think that you got Matt Smith going out by the semis, and I think you got a Vance and Hines final. I think you got Richard Gadsden picking up the win on Gage Herrera, and he's going to do it on a hole shot.
That's my call.
That's my call.
Richard Gadsden is the guy.
Yeah, over Gage on a hole shot. He's going to go out there, and he's going to win it on his riding abilities as opposed to the bike outperforming him.
Yeah, I can see that. That's my pick too. Pro Stock. Who you got?
Pro Stock, I think Erica finally gets her long-awaited next win that's seemingly been put off for forever. If I'm not mistaken, I have to double check. I think her next win is going to be number 50 in Pro Stock. She has, I believe, 50 overall with her Sportsman win, but I think that's upcoming soon for her. And I mean, her track record here speaks for itself. They've had such a good car in qualifying. All throughout, getting the low points in the sessions. She's had number 1 qualifier. Greg Anderson had a little bit of a run prior to that. He had been number 1, but recently, I think that the way it's going, I mean, it's kind of hard to bet against Erica. I don't know that it necessarily puts her back into championship contention, but just double check. It'll be her 50th win. She's got 48. So her 50th in Pro Stock, she'd have to sweep out the rest of the season to be able to do that. But I feel like that if I'm betting on Pro Stock, I'm going to bet an Erica Enders win in the finals.
Yeah, I think you have to pay attention to history. And her history has played out pretty well. This is the tracks where she has dominated at, she usually comes out and finds a way to get a win there. They haven't had one in a while. She understands and they understand what's at stake. So I'd have to go with her being in the final. I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say it's her and Greg in the final, and Greg beats her on a hole shot for the win.
Wow. That would be a heck of a bet, but that would be a repeat of last year's final. The two of them met head to head. Erica got a little bit of a hole shot, and then Greg just squared the tire, and it wasn't even a race, unfortunately. But yeah, I could definitely see that too, playing out them two head to head in the final again.
No square in the tire. Yeah, no square in the tire, please. Yeah, you're right. You are right. She is due, and that whole people being due for a win is real. Ask the Baltimore Ravens. He definitely would want that win, and I think he can do that, especially since what happened last year. He has been right there the whole entire season. Just sometimes just hasn't been able to close the deal. Usually happens late, where this phantom squaring of the tire ends up happening, and could be a possibility here, especially with the conditions being so great. It could really happen to anybody out there. But Greg is my pick. But if I was a betting man, I would. If I'm you, I'd put money on Erica Enders to be safe.
Now, why better plays out, the two of them will race second round or something.
Right.
Qualifying.
Oh,
But,
man. Funny car, man.
Funny car. I feel like I think that there are two drivers there that have a lot to prove, and it's because they're both going to be racing with their friend, their family, their team owner, and their boss back in attendance at the racetrack for the first time in a long time. John Force will be in Las Vegas overseeing his two team cars, one that's contending for the championship on his behalf, and the other one that's likely going to win it for him as an owner. And I think those are the two that have the biggest incentive to win. And I think Austin Prock, Jimmy Prock, Thomas Prock, that whole team have something to prove after what happened in Dallas with that little snafu on the burnout that disconnected the throttle and kind of prevented them from going any further. They are going to be out and 100% on kill. We are going to see low ET of the season in qualifying. And I feel like if Beckman doesn't make the finals, which, I know he's going to want to do that. They've been pretty consistent with that Pete car. If Austin wins this race, I think it could be a race win and a championship win because he's only got to put 50-some points on him, on Beckman in the points, which he's going to get a lot of bonus points in qualifying. I could say that he's probably assured number one qualifier. So he's going to put a gap there. And the championship and the race win to Team Force in Vegas.
Yeah, I wanted to say and wanted to do Jack, but the track record of this car at Vegas plus what happened at Dallas equals a recipe for an absolute annihilation of the field.
They're gonna be opening a can of something out there.
Yes, this is Bill Belichick taking a loss that he knew he shouldn't have taken and making sure the next time that you show up that he not only wins but he runs the score up. And that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to win and run up the score. It's going to be an absolute devastation of the field, and I do believe it's championship for them. They're going to be hoisting a trophy at the end of this thing.
But worst case scenario, if they beat Beckman in the final, they can at least get the championship trophy in Pomona on Saturday, because Beckman ain't going to, they can leave 160. You got to be 191 up. So 2 rounds, but if Beckman's in the final, I think they'll be okay with that because it's going to be a party in Pomona.
Yeah, and I think the car is good enough to be in the final.
For sure.
It's just Beckman's consistency at off the starting line. That's going to be the key because there's other players in this with Matt Hagan understanding where he needs to be. Bob wants to piss people off. Ron wants to piss people off as well. There's some tough cars lined up here. Blake Alexander, a car that's been running extremely well. So there's a lot of factors here, but I do believe both of those cars could possibly be in the final. Definitely.
And those guys you named off, there's a lot of points positions up for grabs and a lot of money to shuffle.
Oh, yeah.
But definitely honorable mention to Bob Tasca, who's going to run the first NHRA 340 this weekend too. So
yes,
the air is there.
It's got to happen. It's got to happen.
Low downforce on the high altitude track. We're cutting through that thin air. Yeah, that thing is going to be trimmed out and going. NHRA is going to be measuring those headers like nothing.
They better his manifolds better be the right color too.
Paint them manifolds. Put it just dink them, kick them into staging lanes so they don't got nothing to throw you out about. But I think that Saturday night we could see some NHRA history. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that. Top Fuel, one of the most interesting classes, along with the two other stockers. This thing is deep with people who have an outside chance to make some noise. I'm going to go first. I'm going to say, because John is back in the building and the emotions behind that, Brittany Force wins this thing, punches a whole lot of people in the mouth, and makes this thing extremely interesting coming into Pomona.
Well, that could be a very good, very bold prediction. I like that. That's good. I think she'll go some late rounds, but I feel like looking through the history, looking through 3 prior final rounds, looking at Terry McMillan getting his first career win here, or a win here. Sorry, I don't think that was his first one. I think he's got his first one at Gainesville.
Yeah.
Jasmine Salinas.
That's a good one. This car can run, and now they have the conditions to do it. She's got the legs to do it now because she's been driving this car all season. They can trust her with it. Yeah.
Well, and you know, they've got the tune-up for this track. Like I say, the last 3 years, Mike Salinas has been there. No, I'm sorry, that's right. So Terry, yeah, he did get his first win at Vegas over Brittany, no less. So I guess we could have two in the final. We could have Brittany be in the final for John, but I really think that Scrappers team has got something to prove. Vegas is a good place to bring out that 300 to the 8th tune-up, and let's see what Jasmine's got here with 2 to go. And this race has come up with some pretty surprising, stunning results on the top fuel side of things throughout the years too. Guys that you expect to go around that don't, and guys that have had really not good seasons up to that point, just coming out of nowhere with a win. So
yeah,
dark horse pick right there for sure. Not somebody that is even in the championship contention, but I feel like it'd be a real big spoiler. And that's a pretty good one for me.
Yeah, that is good. And ladies and gentlemen, this thing is going to be exceptionally good. So make sure you guys are locked in this weekend. It's going to be fun. What I don't like, though, is that we got to wait 2 weeks like the Super Bowl and for the actual final of Pomona. I wish they would just go back to back all the way through. But that's not how we have it. So it is what it is, and we'll enjoy it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into the show. Without you guys, this thing is nothing. And really appreciate you guys sharing, liking, commenting, a lot of you supporting the show. Appreciate it. It really means a lot. For Sports Journey, for everything Nitro, and for our sponsor, Drag Race Bracket Bonanza, we say good night. And I'll see you guys on Thursday as we talk a little NFL and talk about that Hail Mary. Good night, everybody.